All right, everybody.
Here, you can have this
Get
one.
your glasses on there. Call this meeting to order. We have an addition, executive session for personnel tonight. I'd ask for a motion to put that on the agenda.
So moved.
We're gonna put that at the end, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, yep. I'll second that then.
okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes from 6/10/2024.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on those minutes? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Yeah, they're right there.
Okay.
Highway.
First off, I don't know, we
I think
had
I
a
signed that.
discussion quite a while back about it.
Did I sign that?
Changing speed limit signs with like Moulton Avenue. That's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit up to there. I don't know. I'm suggesting if we can work on possibly getting down 25 with being in the school zone, even though they have their own road. There seems to be a lot of walkers and bicyclers on that road, like any other road. So that was one of my suggestions.
So we gotta, it's an ordinance change, so I gotta remind myself the whole process. You gotta warn it, and it's gotta be, I think, what is a 30-day comment period?
Yep.
Yep.
So, I'll go ahead and, I agree with you with how residential, and it's becoming more residential. I would make a motion that we start the process.
Here a second?
I second.
Is there a
Second that, or
legal second?
I will be happy to second it.
George
Unfortunately,
will second it.
you know, so it probably will still have issues, I'm sure.
I'm sure too. Yep.
Okay, so there's been a motion made, seconded. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? God damn it. Yes, hello.
Next thing I have is we got the grants to pave, shim and overlay and reclaim part of Creek Road from the new culvert at Hawkins up to Alphresia, and then from Alphresia to the town line is to be a shim and overlay.
Mm-hmm.
That was
That's the grant.
the grant.
Yep.
With that being said, we're looking at extra funds, and we can relate back to Heidi on that. We got a quote for Coal River Road. We're up there filling potholes left and right up there, about every 2 weeks, and taking the contractor up there. He actually gave us a proposal of what it costs to shim and overlay that with shoulders.
This
Yeah,
is the
that-
same contractor, so Fuller, that we
So,
awarded
Fuller,
it to. Okay.
Reason being because of the price, he was more reasonable on the price per ton
Yep.
right through. That will go from North Shrewsbury Road to the Shrewsbury Town line, and then there'll be a short area done from the bridge on Clover Road by Marcos or Al Nicky's grout sand pit
Okay.
north to the town line headed towards Hubbard's.
Going to, yeah.
Okay.
That there will have to be ground,
Okay.
because if we just shim and overlay that, you'll actually be higher than the bridge.
Oh.
And
Okay.
actually it needs it in that area to be ground reclaimed. And with that being said, he's actually in Rutland City, he's close by. To do
Are
it.
we? I didn't see the numbers yet, but can he do it within what we have
Yeah,
left?
So close.
Because roughly, what do we have in the budget left to expend after 120?
with an inch and a quarter shim and 3/4 top is, and milling. Well, we didn't put the shouldering in there. Is $121,200 or $20.60
So without the shoulders.
without shoulders. $121,020.60.
That comes pretty much perfect. So I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the work to be done.
Is there a second for discussion?
Regarding the shoulders, was it, you gonna do anything with that or not?
We can pursue that afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
it's not. You know, we're looking. I just throwing a figure out there. I would think around less than 3,000.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Is
Because
there
we
any-
can figure out the shoulder work afterwards.
That's what we took from the airport, a lot of
Some of that
material.
stuff we can use, but
Yeah.
also we're going to use that on Creek Road too.
Okay.
So,
Right.
so I was going to add to that. We'd like to get up there before they do that to clean out some of the ditches up through there with the excavator, so we're not damaging the new tire if we do it.
Yep.
So there's a motion made, seconded, and brief discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, anything else, Cash?
The roadside mowing. The tractor now went to Middlebury because apparently I talked to the mechanic up there, had 5 minutes with him, and he has actually seen issues with the valve system on these tractors, and he believes they have a broken valve in the back. And his first thing was to me, once he understood where the location was, he said, I hope he didn't tear it apart, because no, we haven't. Because there's many pieces in there and stuff like that.
So where is it now?
Middlebury, John Deere,
Oh, it's gone. Okay.
Hendy's, United Ag.
I know where it is. now.
With that being said, I reached out to a local guy, which is Joe Davis, to do a one trip around town and intersections. We already did with our tractor until we had really problems again on Middle Road, Alphresia, and part of Creek Road, and a little bit on Moulton Avenue. So I reached out to Joe Davis and give us a price on just a one-time mow around town with intersections. Also, I just got in coincidence with a fella that has a mower tractor that he leases out, and he leases it to municipalities and whoever. He sent us the quote on that, and we can rent that for $6,000. We run it ourselves and put our own fuel in it
For 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks. Normally he gets $4,000 a week. And being a municipality, not only a municipality, but in July he has downtime for it. An opening, which is the 8th of July for 2 weeks, and he'll do it for $3,000 a week. And we run the tractor and supply the fluids and stuff. So Davis give us the quote. It was $10,000 to mow once around. So I'm thinking, and Joel Baker, he's here tonight. He talked with him. We can get around town in 2 weeks, at least one pass, if not do some extra.
I was going to say, because my questions would be, if we rent it, obviously we can do some extra, whereas for the 10,000, you're only going to get one pass everywhere. So at least we could do some of the trouble areas more in depth, would be my thought.
Right.
Because we know where we've got issues that need to be addressed, and I don't know about other people, but I know if their phones aren't ringing, they probably will be, but otherwise people are stopping and saying, hey, what's going on with roadside mowing this year? So I know people are starting to really see it. So
Joe's a regular guy that has done it in the past, right?
yeah, Joel's been doing it. Yep.
He does most
I like
of
it.
it.
Yep. It's been good.
Yep.
I'd
Been doing a good job with it.
Any idea how long the other one's gonna be down?
That's what I was going to ask.
They don't know until they get into it. They won't start it. It just went to Middlebury Friday morning, and they won't start working on it until Friday this coming week.
It's a
So we're
hydraulic
looking at-
valve.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a simple fix. I showed you what it was.
Mhm.
That's what he's saying.
Right.
But it's just a question of how long.
Let it set a couple more weeks and push Middlebury a little bit and not spend that $8,000 or $10,000.
Still have our own tractor. That was
Have
the
our own
other.
tractor.
That was my next thing of where.
I mean, everybody's getting by with it right now, and if
Mhm.
had a couple of farmers left in this town that would run down through like somebody did on Mill Road there for a while.
Mhm.
I know it's a pain, you pull out and you can't see, especially in little cars.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's gotten this late now.
This rental one, is it a one with an arm on it, or is it just a side mower like,
It's the same thing that we have as a town,
okay,
but also it swings back behind you and transport.
yeah, so.
It's the newer
Well, I just
version.
looking at getting more done, out further away from the edge of the road, like Joe Davis. Last one I know he had was just a sidearm one,
It's gonna be.
so he got 4 or 5 feet, and
Yeah.
that was it. And that was if
Right.
he was, brave enough to get over there by the ditch. And
Right.
some of our ditches are a little deeper than they need to be anyway, so
That's
pretty
another
easy to be
story.
on your side.
Another story.
It's the
So that was my-
poison that's grown on the sides of the road now.
And that was the other thing. The poison parsnips growing. We been getting after it earlier in the year. There's not as much poison parsnip.
I've
now
noticed there's less.
because we kept that at bay before it went to
Right.
seed.
Yeah.
We got a week and a half
Well,
to
I was
think,
gonna say,
sort of think about it.
I'll make a motion. Here's kind of a contingency motion here.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that, so you're saying he's gonna look at it this Friday,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically.
By Monday, I should know what.
What the deal
A
is.
week from today, I should know what he's found.
So I'll make a motion that we give Cash the authority, if we find out this is a bigger fix and it's gonna take longer than a few days. I'm gonna make that motion that on that Monday, the whatever that is, it's July 1st, Cash be authorized to, if our mower tractor is gonna be laid up for more than a week or two,
Couple weeks. Yep.
that he be authorized to go ahead and rent this machine. If he finds
Because
that
this
out.
one's available. What, July 8th?
July 8th.
Because this is
Yep.
between meetings, so I just
We-
make that motion that we authorize you to do that if you find out it's going to be tied
This
up.
town has not had great luck with renting equipment either.
Got that right.
It does, sorry, but there is a 72-hour cancellation notice. So as long as we let these guys know 72 hours prior that we're not going to meet it, then we won't be charged anything extra.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion as I understand it.
All right, the motion made, seconded, and is there any more discussion on this motion?
And just remember, I'm only making it as a contingency. If he finds out that we're going to have it back in a week or two,
Yep.
obviously,
canceled, we
I
got our
think
own.
you got the sense that we'll
That'd be
have
the
our own.
Perfect storm right there if we got it back and.
But if he gets back to you and says, "Oh, geez, we got a major tear down. It's tied up for a month,"
Did you
we're
have
going to have to
some,
do something.
Well, we do have another meeting coming up in 2 weeks, so
Well, the problem is if you find out it's a month, this is supposed to be in. That's the week this is supposed to start. That's the week they've got us roughly penciled in for.
did you have a concern, Art? I missed what you said.
yeah, this town has not had great luck with renting equipment.
Okay.
That scares me.
Yeah, okay.
It ends up costing us more money.
That's why I reached out. Like the.
Is that one insured? Does the town insurance cover the rental?
It will be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, our insurance will cover
All right,
it.
so there's been a motion made, second.
If Joel breaks it, he fixes it.
Call
Yeah, there
Eddie.
you go.
Call Eddie.
Better.
There's been a motion made, seconded, we've had some discussion, and I don't think there's any further discussion. So all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Got anything else, Cash?
Oh, that's all I have.
All right, approval of select board warrants, they're right here. Anybody wants to take a look at them? Maggie Obrien,
Yes, hi.
good fine Irish name.
So I'm from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. I'm the emergency management planner. You might remember Stephanie Burke before me.
Mm-hmm.
So I come tonight because there is a huge funding opportunity from FEMA provided to Vermont Emergency Management that we want to get in touch with all of our towns about. So, following the federally declared disaster of last summer with all the flooding, typically FEMA gives the state a pot of money to implement hazard mitigation type projects. And this year, or for this round of funding rather, they decided to give us 90 million. For
We'll take
context, for context,
Just for Clarendon, right?
Yeah, we'll take it.
yeah. But just for context, so you can know how insane that is, for Irene, we got 45 million.
Well,
Yeah. So we are making an effort to go out to all of our towns and try to dig up projects where they might be. It could be culvert upsizings, property buyouts, it could be natural systems type projects, and that's the one I'm especially interested in learning from you guys about with Mill River. I'm sure there's some potential projects in there. But they are prioritizing property buyouts in the natural systems, but there are other eligible project types. And I have all of this information on a sheet so you can look at it later. But essentially, one of the important things to know is that there is not going to be any cost match. Because there's not going to be a cost match. So the municipality, typically they pay 25%.
Yep.
But with the passing of the state budget, we have enough money essentially for the state to cover that 25%. So towns don't have to put anything up front.
I guess we'll be looking at some projects.
is
Yeah,
there,
make your
I
wish
have
list
one
out.
question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Bike trail.
That's right.
I have
knew
one
that was
question.
Yes.
On North Shrewsbury Road, there's that old collapsed building, and of course it cost fire and all this kind of stuff. Is that covered under this? If we had a project to clean that up,
Right next to the river.
So would it just be like a debris cleaning? Is that what you're saying?
essentially.
Pretty much debris now.
So that's where we run into the rub, because there is no contact for, and we've been down this road and nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole because it's an abandoned property
But it's also at risk of debris falling,
falling
into the river.
Now it
Very
is.
much so.
So we may have to look into that one.
That's a unique case. I haven't heard one like that yet. I'm not sure if it would qualify, but it's worth looking into at least.
If, when you go back to work, if you get a chance to look through some of their, can you contact somebody to find out if that would be sooner?
eligible project type?
Yeah, sooner rather than later.
Yes, I can contact someone at VEM. I have good communications with them from all the other towns I've been reaching out to in our region, so been at this for a bit.
Now, you mentioned Cold River, which has been a topic of our discussion for a long time. And Dan's here, and he's an abutting property owner, and I'm sure there would be others here too that would want to be a part of that discussion. But we've had significant impacts and actually had to armor part of the abutment to the bridge because it started to wash during those flooding events. So what types of, I guess we would probably all be interested to know what types of things would potentially be covered if we could get a project going on Cold River.
So, the eligible project types beyond the ones that I mentioned, so road relocation or elevation, that's a potential one. There's upsizing bridges or culverts. Actually, a lot of municipalities in our region have been going for that one. The thing with this pot of money is because it's so big, VEM is more likely to give out bigger grant amounts for larger projects because this is seen as an unprecedented opportunity. But yes, I can always also send to the select board the notice of funding, which lists in detail all the eligible project types and initial steps about applying for the program.
One last question. Is there any opportunity for any work in the rivers as a part of this, or are they pretty much avoiding that?
We still have to get A&R's approval for all that kind of.
So I have been told that if work has to be done in rivers or if you need permits for anything, they will build that time into your schedule and make it like a phased project.
Okay, that's good to know.
Maggie, what's the time
Yeah,
frame
it's not
on
river
the
corridors
funding?
listed on it.
That's not something we have a good handle on right now. So what I can tell you is that the pre-application is due on August 16th, and that's just to let VEM know that the town has a project that they want them to look at, see if it's eligible, and then if VEM decides this is a good project they want to go with, they'll contact the town, and both VEM and RRPC will be available to help you guys with the full application, which will be due at the beginning of 2025, January or February, somewhere in there.
Now that project that he was talking about, Cold River Road,
Yeah.
why don't you speak to that a little bit, because his property has been eroding because of the change of the direction of the river.
Yeah, that would come under their river corridor and embankments and stuff.
Would that,
Probably armoring,
Yeah,
essentially.
armoring on there.
I could see that being eligible.
Reestablishing the corridor and armament. It's actually filled in a lot.
Yeah, the emphasis from VEM for this funding round has been, they like to say, giving the river space. So those projects where you get rid of properties that are in the way or restore natural system type functions so that the river has the room to kind of flood out in a harmless area instead of harming actual property. So something like that I could see as being eligible, yes.
Will there be any loosening of the red tape that we have gone through for years to do anything? Is there going to be any change?
Probably not.
I can't control what FEMA does, unfortunately. But we
spoke to we sent a letter to the governor asking him that question. We haven't received no answers back yet.
I would also say that one of the things that we've suggested a couple different times, and maybe this is an opportunity, is that ultimately Vermont Rail VTrans is responsible for that railroad bridge,
Right.
and that railroad bridge is highly at risk at this point if we get high water. So now that there may potentially be money available, maybe they might be interested in talking about that too, because the rail trestle right below our bridge is significantly at risk.
Not so much
It
at
fills
risk,
up.
but it's also
the river
holding back the water.
Yeah.
Right.
The issue is though, once you start opening that channel up downstream towards the creek, it's going to get impounded even worse because of the flow.
Oh, there's lots of there's
So
lots
it
of
needs to go all the way down through.
Did that other channel to the north get opened back up or not? That's still blocked.
Yep.
Because we had conversations about that after
opened
Irene.
it.
that was after Irene.
We talked about
started that.
That path needing to be restored.
Never opened it.
Okay, so maybe that's something that can be talked about as a part of this too, because that's
Well, now the rivers took course across 12 acres cornfield.
it did.
Literally. It looked like it's been there forever now.
Yeah,
It just
And
cut
you
right
want-
through.
And
established river down through there.
looks like established.
You got two
Right
cold
across
rivers
and-
now,
Right across from my house and into
60
the creek.
feet apart from each other.
See, that would have been all avoided if they got off their, their seat and did the right thing.
Yeah, we were talking about that a long time ago. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming and letting us know what's available, and hopefully maybe we can work something out in this. Maybe this is an opportunity.
Can you get some information back to us though, on the obvious questions that we just asked?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so.
I would suggest that either you or somebody in your organization go take a look at this building that we were mentioned on the Coal River Road.
I could take a look at it right now. Where is it?
Well, you know how to get up North Shrewsbury Road?
I mean, I haven't been up there yet myself. I'm still relatively new to the region, but
Well, you go to the very end, take a left, and, how far is it? Not far.
Right down by the bridge.
Yeah.
It's right by the bridge.
I can give you the address.
okay, thank you.
It's south of the
It's on the right side, so in other
Up
words,
Put it in your phone.
go up Coal River Road.
She can put it in her phone.
Across the railroad tracks, go to the intersection, all the way up to the intersection, hang a left, and it's probably 200,
Yeah, it's not
300
far.
feet
Can't miss it.
on the right.
Okay.
Quite obvious.
Yes.
Mike, are you going to have
she's young. She knows how to use
committee
Google
to
Maps.
get your initial projects by the 16th of August?
That's true.
Are you
So,
gonna, I mean, how's
That's true.
the process?
so the pre-application only requires some basic project details, like what the problem is, what solution you have in mind. You kind of need to have that as a frame of reference. The cost for implementing that solution and where that estimate came from. And let's see what else. Project location, that's kind of an obvious one. History of damages, that's a huge one. So if you can provide photographic and document, previous damages that happened and how much went into repairing it, that's going to be a big deal for FEMA. So that's just for the initial pre-app. For the full application itself, the one that's due in 25, there will be a requirement to do a cost-benefit analysis, which VEM and us will be helping you guys with if you decide to go down this path. But the general rule of thumb I've been given by BEM is that if you have a project where the engineering or design scoping is at about 30%, then you can probably move forward with trying to get this project in HMGP.
To Jan's point, if we can get some of the historic pictures that we have, recent historic pictures that we have, can we call you and meet down here during the day at the town hall, and you can help us go over some of this?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I can do something like that.
Right, Ashley? And we'll do some
Yeah.
history.
There's no way that you're gonna, there's no way that you're gonna get engineering costs between now and August.
Yeah, and that is the one downside to this funding. It's more for projects that have already kind of had the ball rolling on them. But it's an opportunity nonetheless, and I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of it.
All right, let's see if we can
Yeah.
rush something.
We gotta
through.
do some scrambling.
Yeah.
Maggie, you could also, if you do come down here and give us some examples, or maybe you could even send actually some examples from other towns of projects that fit the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Might be helpful.
So, there's a couple of examples from the past, like that super culvert in Brandon. That was funded through HMGP money. But I do have a working list of pre-applications that the towns in our region are working on right now.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
And last thing I'll do is just make sure you guys get these handouts so you remember every detail I talked about today.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking your time.
Yeah,
Come
thank
down.
you.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
You're not gonna stay?
She gotta go check out that building.
Go check out the building up on
Yeah, that too.
Thank you, Maggie.
Yes, thank you.
Good job, by the way.
We got enough here, but
Coming at you.
90 million.
may not have enough. Oh, you got some there?
That poor girl was
There's another
shaking.
one.
I have,
She's not used to speaking in front of people. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
all right, public comments, anything?
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, back to the road a few minutes ago on Moulton Ave. If you put that to 25, I would suggest that you look at the village at the same time.
7B, you mean?
Get 7B to
Oh,
the
okay.
village.
I'm good with that discussion.
Yes,
I'm good with that discussion.
yes.
That's part of the school zone too. On the south end, it's part of the school zone too.
Part of the Alphresia Road, I'd love to see it lower than it is right now.
What was that?
You can't go fast on Alphresia. I'll get airborne over that stupid.
They go airborne over now.
I'll bet they do.
Those are parts of my driveway.
Can we get a grant, put a sidewalk in?
No, bike trail.
Like, yeah.
No, I agree, Bob. That's a good comment. Thank you. Thank you, Danny.
Danny,
The only thing I was gonna say is this is a perfect example of if we already had a plan.
That's what I was going to
Funding,
say.
when the funding came alive. I saw it happen at the firehouse when the 911 or the 9/11 funding came around. We were just sort of talking about where to put a firehouse. We were behind the 8 ball.
mm-hmm.
We didn't have our ducks in a row. If we had our ducks in a row, you would have had a new firehouse, no cost.
Right.
Back then.
I guess what my
And there wasn't enough time to put one together when you're starting
Sure.
from square one.
the thing that might save us on this though, and I was going to suggest it after the meeting, but ultimately the floodplain restoration that they did with
Yeah.
the berms
Yep.
ran out of money, and my understanding is they didn't do all that they were originally going to do. Right? So what I wonder is do they already have some numbers on file of how much more it would have taken to really
Continue that project.
finish the project? That's what I wonder.
Yeah.
Do you have
Like-
any paperwork
On
from when that happened years ago?
the restoration,
Yeah,
That
when
was
they,
this restoration.
On my side.
Yeah.
I'll let her check it out.
I might
Right.
be able to get some information on
Because I was going to say,
Might.
if there's already a plan and they know roughly, or if the contractor can say, well,
Yeah.
it would have taken us another
Right.
$100,000, $150,000, whatever, at least we would have some numbers that we could go off of and look at.
Right,
Wasn't
right. Give you a
Heather
start.
here at the time?
No.
The
that's
biggest,
not
the biggest thing you need to do really there, which that plan didn't touch on, was getting the material out
correct.
and riprapping and armoring
This
the
bank.
outside of that,
Yeah.
The floor of the river.
the south side of that corner,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
like it was prior to Irene.
And you got the Fitzgerald engineering that was done X number of years.
Correct.
He may be an
Still-
ace, sort of, to be able to come up with something quick. That might to reach out.
Fitzgerald, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just do it as Clarendon, not wait.
Yes.
Wait and try to coordinate with Shrewsbury.
No. I would
Something
just
like
go,
this.
I would same thing. I would say you wouldn't
No, you,
you
gotta
wouldn't
sort
try
of
to
take
go
the
the
bull by
route
the
of
horns. and
multi-town.
get it
You got to
done,
do
yeah,
it. Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah,
Go that way.
Everything south of Route 7.
yeah,
Pretty
Let's
much.
yeah.
Concentrate on that.
Be-
I mean, west.
West of
West.
7, sorry.
I knew what you were saying.
Yeah, we knew what you were talking about.
I knew what you were talking about.
Right, Maureen?
I wasn't paying attention.
It's okay, he talks in riddles anyway.
I was thinking about something else.
But, I think we gotta do a little research and see what we have on files.
I agree with Danny.
Well, I think the basic thing is you've got essentially got a month to put something together, but we're gonna have to move to do it, and you got a holiday in there too. So I mean, you gotta just gonna have to jump on this right away
Proactive.
and just be real proactive.
I don't know, maybe we can get some of the listers to help us.
But the other positive too is so it was Kurt that did that work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
Hathaway.
there might be, you can call him up and say, hey, if we were to do this, and then, I mean, most of these grants, all you got to have is something on contractor letterhead that says, I looked at this project and this is roughly what I think it's going to take, and they'll accept that. So if you can get a contractor to put
We
something
had-
on paper,
We had the original complete project price. And everything, if I remember right, Dan? Originally. And then they kept cutting it back.
Yeah, I don't remember what the
Yeah,
original way back
Original.
encapsulated.
Volume and
Yeah,
yardage and all that stuff.
right.
But let's find
But
out.
I don't think any of it was getting in and removing material.
it didn't have any removal.
No, I don't believe so. Not the original. I could be
Off
wrong.
The floor of the river, you're talking.
Right, right.
And that's no.
That's where
And that's
where
what's really happening.
that's where we're talking and have
Yeah.
said for a long
Doesn't
time we really
have-
need
right.
to have happen.
no capacity whatsoever.
Right.
Apparently
Well,
there's
it's
there's
got
a
no
write-up
capacity, and now it's just
thing
going to spread
off the
wider.
computer. And they can go right down that river on the computer and tell you what the original depth should be. So they can tell you, you gotta take 5 feet here, 8 feet there, and 10.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Didn't we
those-
get a price
that's all
from
those
Fitzgerald to do this? I thought we got a
But he
price
did
to
the
do this
cross-section
study, to do this engineering thing, or
It was mostly fluvial business where
There was fluvial erosion stuff.
side
Right.
and all that sort of thing. But I
Right.
think he did take elevations of the river itself
Okay.
also.
But then they
Now,
also
with this
told us,
new way, this new computer way, you can do it, it's even quicker and easier to do.
Okay.
Because he did the cross sections.
Yeah, he did the
Manual.
original cross sections.
Yeah.
Back after Irene.
So I mean, I guess first thing we need to do is pull all those files and see what's in them.
Did he give us those files?
I'm sure it's in the
I
You got
email.
a
think
copy of that somewhere?
Katie was here when.
Yeah, he
Katie was
gave
here for
us-
quite a
he
bit of
gave
it.
us a
Yeah.
copy.
I have the memorandum pulled up
Okay.
from
Yeah.
when we got it in 2016.
Back to the house though that you guys talked about. I know which house you're talking about. And,
Yep.
I mean, I've only seen it from the road, so I can't even imagine what it's like on the other
It's
side.
bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is pretty bad.
That
I gotta agree.
that really, I mean, that's something I would like to see get cleaned up too, because it's just
Well, we're
leaching into the river.
ultimately we're talking about putting in for both. The problem with that is, and
That's
what makes me doubt that they're going to touch that, is because of the fact that the
asbestos.
well, that was one thing, but the other thing that was of a especially concern was at the time, and this is years ago, and we haven't been able to confirm one way or the other. The former resident was still alive in a nursing home, and there was a whole dynamic that nobody wanted to touch with the 10-foot pole.
But is so you said it was abandoned. So what does that mean?
It's an abandoned property within the town that is still technically owned by someone, but it's considered an abandoned property.
Plus, there's a lot
Is
of,
anybody paying property taxes on it?
that's what I was just gonna ask.
We'll take it.
Well, how long do you not pay and then something moves
See,
along?
the problem we had
Right.
with that is, if the town just grabbed it,
Then it's a town liability.
right,
And it's on the
there's all
taxpayers
that,
to clean it up.
right, it's
And
all
it's
that
got
asbestos siding that was on there, that's the,
Asbestos
Well, it just,
siding.
Yep.
it
Yep.
just
And that's going- that's leaching
amazes
into the
me,
river.
because when I was on the board here, and Heather and I took a few walks down to the creek with Freon in the river,
mm-hmm.
and they didn't want to even
Nobody wanted to
pull
touch
it out.
Touch
Yeah.
it.
Nobody wanted to
And the
touch
last
it.
time
So
we
you
were-
wouldn't want asbestos really traveling down the river to the next to other communities, basically.
Well,
So it's
Yeah.
we can hope, and that's why we brought it up to her, so hopefully she would investigate it and see
Sure.
if this is something that would qualify. But
in one way,
ultimately, this board has had to take the stance of we can't make it a tax liability on the taxpayer. We can't assume the property, and that's been since Bob, you were up here too.
Yeah.
That it's better to
Yeah,
ultimately have it sit as an abandoned property than to put the liability on the
other
taxpayer
taxpayers in town.
to clean up
You've
somebody else's
touched on,
mess.
there is some problems there.
There's some problems, yeah. And the problem is, the other issues that have been brought up is what are the problems that are unseen? We know the ones that are seen, but we don't know what's
Yeah.
unseen.
When the state came down after Irene and where the motorcycle guys were over there, remember we met with the state over there to look
Oh,
at
yeah.
their
Oh, the FEMA buyout.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we did, we told them about that. That's the building was still standing at that time, and we told them, and they were going to go down and look at it and then report back. Never happened.
Never heard back from
Well, and that's your possibility might be if they would agree to buy it out ultimately, and the town lets them buy it out as long as they clean it up. I mean, that might be your saving grace if they would agree to do something
right.
like that.
That is a good angle right there.
And-
Rob.
But since then, if you go on the other side of that, because I stopped over there a couple times,
It's eroding.
right, it's coming right.
Yeah. No, I know it is.
Some of the metal and stuff is starting to fall into the
Mhm.
river already.
But buying the property would be, and she said it was one of those
Yeah, I mean, if they would,
possibilities.
if they,
Buyouts are a problem if you don't know who owns it.
that's
You
right.
can't find an owner.
And that's
Buyouts
been
are a problem.
that was our issue too. And one of the things we ran into, which just I think it's still an issue, is the fact that we couldn't even serve tax sale paperwork on anybody to hold a tax sale because nobody could be found. So it truly is an abandoned property in the town.
Anyways, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we see if there is any other public comments.
Strategic, George.
That's right.
I like it.
That,
Usually that's me.
I know.
come on, Mike, move along. Give me a nudge. All right, is there any other public comments?
The bridge looks good, by the way. The
Uh-huh.
covered bridge.
It's coming.
I just went down there before I came over.
Yeah,
This Friday, it's supposed to be done, right?
no.
No?
The state jumped in and made them change some of the culverts on the south side.
Yeah.
It was a big concrete culvert that they had in
Yeah, I
there
know, but-
and everything. Well, the state came down and said they didn't like that.
Yes, I heard.
So that whole thing had to be excavated out of there, and they put in another channel that goes to the end of that. And so today was supposed to be, the guardrail guys were supposed to come down there today
Right.
and do that. And then the next move after that is blacktop, and then they're done.
I'd like to personally thank Ashley for painting that sign on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
She did a
Absolutely.
Great
nice
job.
Yes.
Hopefully they're gonna pop it up a little. It says Kingsley Bridge.
It's not up yet.
Oh,
It is?
No, it's up.
It's up.
Oh, they put it up.
Yeah,
on
It's
the other side.
It's on our side.
On
on
our
the south side, yep.
Oh, good. Our side.
That's in case.
So this Friday, is that over this Friday?
put it up.
I don't think so.
I should have a update tomorrow that I'll
Yeah.
All right.
send out.
What happened was
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of a sudden, the state stepped in
I
again
heard all about that, yeah.
when they had to dig it all back out again. I'm not gonna,
We, can I just bring something up? It was brought up to me if you shouldn't have a opening ceremony for that.
I was
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
should have.
Like a ribbon cutting or something?
Yeah, and there's one guy that, well, he's related to that guy, and I think he's throwing him, his relation under the bus is, Jerry LaFrancis,
I know
as the
Jerry.
mayor,
Yep,
because he lives on the corner, but.
well, he lives right there, yeah.
Mm.
Were you planning on having anything when it opens?
Yeah,
what
we ought to
we-
do something.
Number one thing was, and I had a talk with the contractor, Jim, over there, is just before they move out of there, is have all those guys stand under, the opening on the north side, so we can take a picture, so we have a historic picture of it.
Yeah.
So 50 years from now, somebody else can say, oh, these guys did this and that.
We get the governor to come down.
Once in a while, you come up with a good idea.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Date,
Once in a while.
put it out.
Yep.
And we could do something. I'd help you put it together if you want.
Oh, well.
Have a little party over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk to Ron Evans and see if that's okay.
Moving on.
I make a request, is that public?
But
What do you want? What do you want?
I got the Mill River Union football team is coming to work in the Kavanaugh Briggs Cemetery on July 11th. Bunch of them, I don't know how many I'm gonna get. But Phil Hall, one of the coaches, is quite happy about the opportunity to give back to the community. And so I don't want a whole load of material brought up there, but I was wondering if I could, talked to Cash, if I could have use of the 1-ton truck, fill that full of shore pack, whatever, so I can back it up to the cemetery. They can shove it in the little barrels, taking it, and we can work on all the stones. And then when we're through, we can just dump the rest of it down here on the pile. I mean, I've got a load of stuff up to Chippenwood, but that's going to be used for the next couple of years. I don't want to leave us a bunch of stuff at the Kavanaugh Cemetery.
Which cemetery is this now?
That's one up on Phil Alderman's property.
Oh, up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing is, it might be an insurance question.
Oh, he is an employee.
He technically is.
But you're talking about basically just shoveling out of the back. Right?
Well,
Can
no,
you
for
spare-
him to take the
Can you
truck.
spare it for a day?
Well, it won't be for a day. They're coming at 5 o'clock at night. They're coming in the
Oh.
evening.
Evening.
Oh, it's an
So
evening
it'd be
deal.
something where you could leave it there the afternoon and go back up and get it in the morning, or if that's the case.
You good with
I
that?
told him we'd work something out somehow.
Okay, well, first, I just want to check the insurance thing. Once
Well,
that question is.
Again,
Well,
if it's an evening thing, Cash is just going to
he's
park
gonna
it
leave
there.
it.
He's
He's
just
gonna
going to
pick
park
it
it
up in the
there, and Kevin doesn't have to drive it.
But you have kids going up and down in a truck, town truck.
I got you. You're
So
on
I
the-
just want to find out.
I'll get in the back. And
What are you worried?
shovel
The football team's gonna grab a side and tip it over?
A little weightlifting
There's
practice.
so few farms now. There's no cows that tip over. They'll tip over the town truck. Right?
But you understand what my
Yeah,
concern is.
I got it.
And,
I didn't see the angle until you clarified.
I'm like that. You know that.
It's a so happy world now, so you gotta be careful.
I don't know how it works with the town, but if somebody volunteers to work on my farm, as long as I'm not paying them, they're covered
Right.
if
I'm
something
sure.
happens.
Our policy's got to have a volunteer policy.
Many times when I volunteered to work down, I think you can verify this, when I helped them, was in the process of helping them extend the garage down there, I suddenly got a phone call and said that you're not covered under insurance, you can't even volunteer. Am I correct, Heidi?
Yes, I believe that was the directive we received from BLCT at that time.
Yes. So, you see my point.
Make a phone
Yeah.
call and see what they say.
Yep. End of story. Anything else? Okay. Old business. Bidding for exterior of the building renovation. For this building. Do we want to even go down that road? Now,
Do we have information, or is this just to talk about putting the bidding process together?
To get it started.
right,
For vinyl, we already have it together for painting.
right.
Okay.
But the problem with painting with this building, as old as it is, every 2-3 years, we're having to go out for bids, get it painted and everything else.
Right.
But if you have it vinyl siding put on, we would extend that, I think.
Sure, sure it would. The only thing you want to think about is if you ever go for a historical grant.
You can't.
We can't.
You already
Okay.
can't.
If you already explored that, that's fine.
The roof.
Yeah.
The roof was changed from
Oh,
slate.
gotcha.
Remember that?
Yep. No,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
That conversation.
The roof was changed, the
Okay.
porch was added.
No, I was just throwing that out. It
added.
might be
It's-
something you
it's
might
no
have
longer historic.
wanted to go for in the future, but yeah, we already.
It doesn't
down
cost
that
us, it doesn't cost us anything to get prices.
Oh, it doesn't
Yeah.
at all. I agree with that. Totally.
I mean, I'm not opposed to getting prices. Again, I know my thing when we talked 2 weeks ago was the fact that the last price we got was just
Just a,
astronomical.
Yep.
So
Way
I
beyond.
don't have a problem with looking at it.
Yeah.
What I would caution is if we're thinking that building fund is what we want to deplete to do it, I think there's other projects that probably would take precedence over putting vinyl on this building for some of that money. But that's just my 2 cents.
Well, that guy that gave
But-
us the price did not want to do it, so
Well-
he just threw a price at it.
That's true
Yeah.
too.
He
I
did
don't-
not want to do it.
And you might want to do some coil stock on certain parts of the trim just
Yeah.
to preserve safety.
Sure. Oh yeah.
But you also, you know, and you're gonna probably do that analysis. If you're painting it every 3 years, this is gonna be like 10 to 15 year
Yep.
or more
Yeah, I'd say more.
deal. Yeah, I agree. I'm just trying to be conservative.
I guess the other question, and this is a good question for you, Dan, since you're here. If we're going to be doing this, wouldn't it be wise to foam the outside under the vinyl and add some R value?
I'm not a proponent of doing that
You're not.
because you end up getting, and this is just my take and what I've seen in the industry,
Vapor issues.
is if you had an air exchanger in here that keeps the relative humidity constant,
Yeah.
so the air does not travel through the walls, you don't see. Now you're making a new dew point, which is
A
maybe
rot- a
in the
rot
cavity, so it may be worse for it by doing that.
In-
Now,
in
if you put
between
the
walls?
insulation on the inside, that's a different story. I don't. You're putting it on the warm surface.
Gotcha.
You had a efficiency Vermont thing done here anyway, didn't you? On the building?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We
don't-
did have one a while ago. You're right.
But
Yeah.
I guess my question is what did they suggest? Or did they make a suggestion?
we're looking at that, probably at that time, we're looking at windows and
I'm trying to
Yeah,
think
that's
what
all
they.
it was, the window.
It was a while ago. They did. I was going to say they looked at the windows and the doors. We probably can find. It's got to be in a file somewhere.
The only
Probably
thing I
can pull it.
want to caution in that is we're looking at some stuff, repairing stuff
Right.
today
Mhm.
that Efficiency Vermont was pushing
Right.
15 years ago.
Sure. Sure.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing.
Yeah.
Yep, there's truth to that too. So since we're talking about town hall, where are we at furnace wise? Because we were going to start looking at that too. Did we have any conversations on that front yet?
I talked to somebody from Efficiency Vermont. It was not Megan though,
Okay.
and they were going to let us know when they could come.
Okay, good. So the ball's rolling on that
Yep.
then. Good. Good. I mean, I don't have any issues with seeking out prices on what it would cost to vinyl. I think, you know,
Well, it's,
with any of the building materials right now, buckle your seatbelt for probably about anything, but that's just the way things are right now. So
I mean, based on some of the discussions that we've had in the past, I think it's always good to have that kind of information.
oh yeah,
Sure.
no,
Oh, I agree.
there's nothing wrong with information.
And as was pointed out earlier, it don't cost nothing to get a estimate.
Especially when you're talking a year out at least. It's not
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
you're going to get done this summer anyway.
Yeah, and if somebody's not interested in it, don't even waste your time or theirs
Yeah.
to wait for it, you know, because you're just going to get something unreasonable.
So if we need a motion, I'll make a motion that Ashley can pursue getting some prices, some rough estimate prices, about vinyl and I mean, all that it will entail. I mean, I guess the question is, you're gonna have to, and you know enough about construction, Ashley, to know that you gotta make sure you're comparing apples to apples, so.
Is there a second for the,
I'll second that.
is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. I don't think there's anything else as far as new business is concerned. Does anybody have anything on the board, new business? Alright, town officers have got Heidi.
We are quickly approaching the fiscal year end, so I've provided you a budget status report for where we are currently at, including today's payroll and accounts payable. I will be doing one last check run. I will be doing one last check run towards the end of this week, and then I'll give you new financials after we go ahead and close everything out. But this is where we're at currently. With that 120,000 that we were talking about earlier at the paving, that will come out of here as well. We're going to button that right into the end of this fiscal year. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this report, that does not include that 120,000 yet, that will put us right on budget. So.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say we were 15% under, so that we could offset.
All the extra money goes back to the taxpayers, right?
Of course. In the form of roadway paving.
Was there anything had to be prepaid like we did last year for this fiscal year?
What do you mean prepaid?
Well, last year we had balance of, I can't remember, 30,000 for the fiscal year that we paid into the paving budget ahead of time.
Right, so we will talk with Fuller to get, now that we have 2 projects on the docket, to expend that 120,000 before the end of the fiscal year, since we're on cash basis.
Okay.
That'll go into that final check run. So that'll make us right on budget.
On the whole, you're
Yep.
saying. Okay. And that includes, we had budgeted to spend a little bit of the fund balance, that includes dipping into that, or is that not including that?
Yeah, no, that will wipe out so we budgeted to reduce the fund balance by $65,000.
Yeah.
By approving the paving project for $120,000 some. It puts us to reducing the fund balance by $65,000.
Okay. Good.
So.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
While we're on the topic of the treasurer, I'd like to say that as one of the responsibilities that I've had is on the board as the clerk, is to look at the financial information, well, every week essentially. And through that experience, I can tell you that I think our town is very fortunate to have a treasurer of the caliber that we do.
I agree totally. And thank you very much, Heidi.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Ashley, do you have anything?
I do not. No.
Okay. Come on, Maureen, something. Gotta be something there.
We're moving forward to printing out the grand list and into July. I have an idea how everything's going.
You're under budget. Can you spend some more?
I guess my question, and just so that I better understand our relationship with the state, and I haven't asked this of the listers or the treasurer, the override that just occurred with the roughly 13% increase, is that this October that we're going to see that, or is that next cycle? So is that a year out based on how that works? Are they operating 12 months in advance?
I think they're offering 3 months in advance.
So it will hit this October.
I think that will be hitting us this fall.
Okay. I never understood how theirs. I know how ours operates. I just didn't know how their cycle worked. So
The chatter on the listserv that I'm at, there was a lot of concern that because of everything happening at the state level, that we wouldn't have a tax rate from the Agency of Ed at our normal time, beginning of July. Everything coming out of the Agency of Ed says they will have tax rates for us on time as per normal. So we're all waiting on bated breath to see exactly what that looks like.
So that theoretically is next meeting, we should have it. Okay.
We'll see.
I was just curious. That's what I didn't understand what their cycle was, so I didn't know how the legislative cycle worked. So
Right, before we consider executive session, Art, do you have any concerns?
No.
Rob?
I don't have anything tonight.
I'm set, anxiously awaiting.
Christmas?
Yes.
Are you counting down the
Yes.
days?
All set, thank you.
All right, I entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Oh, I make that motion.
And I think it's clear that we've got probably a quite lengthy one, so
I would think so.
I would say no time limit, and we should let William probably go.
Solar field and, all right, so it was made by Rob, seconded by George.
No, it's just sort of,
All in favor of
we
the
wanted
motion,
to
please
see
say
how
aye.
it was.
Anyone opposed?
Those potholes.